Hi everyone, Sniffany Cough Tano here, the internet's busiest music nerd, and it's time for a review of this new Liv album, Girl in the Half Pearl. This is the newest full-length project from singer, producer, songwriter Olivia Williams, aka Liv. Following up her full-length debut 2020's Couldn't Wait to Tell You, which did pique my interest for a moment with its unique fusions of neo-soul, experimental electronics, psychedelic music, and alternative R&B, Liv inhabits a cross-section of sounds that very few artists do right now, at least specifically in the way that she does. You'll find touches of Erykah Badu on this thing, Solange, D'Angelo, maybe a little bit of Blood Orange too, maybe even some intergalactic vibes from the now inactive The Satisfaction. I could even see fans of Sudan Archives as well as Tune-Yards getting down with some of the vibes on this record. But while the clash of aesthetics on this project were interesting, I still left it feeling like I wanted more. But a debut can often be a moment where an artist is still in a state of flux or development, because there have been plenty of scenarios where a very rough debut has eventually led to a much more well-groomed and fully realized follow-up. So I went into Girl in the Half Pearl hoping it was going to be that kind of record, and sadly I don't think it is. In fact, I would say it's far off. And not to insinuate Olivia's work here isn't purposeful. The second time around, now, it's pretty clear she is making the music she wants to make. The spacey effects, obtuse instrumentation, and trippy minimalist vibes are all way too intentional, as are some of the amazing chord progressions on these tracks too. Like, if you give this record a listen, it will undoubtedly be one of the more unique experiences you have with an album this year. In terms of the influences it brings together anyway, I feel like I'm hearing James Ferraro and early One Oh Tricks Point Never come together and co-produce an experimental R&B LP, especially on tracks like Underground and the Back Alley Sax interlude, because there are some eerie and versatile sounds laced into this project that in some respects make it a legitimately refreshing listen, like with the sensual and quirky vocal harmonies all over Reset, which makes for an odd contrast from the very dire and morbid lyricism throughout the cut. There's also the rigid and computerized tones and rhythms all over the chaotic intro track GARDETTO. The stripped back keys and rhythms on the track Clowns are kind of interesting too, as they eventually give way to these impassioned vocal leads that are kind of distorted, some horn harmonies too. Like, I could list weird instrumental combos and ideas on this record from front to back. That is handily the best and most creative thing about this record, its true selling point. But it's the finer details and the inner workings of these songs where I think this album is missing something. Because truth be told, the songs on this thing are a little shoddy. Like, I'm all for sidestepping your usual verse-chorus-verse structure, which Olivia clearly has little interest in engaging in. But regardless of whatever shape these songs take, it's still upon the artist to leave an impression on the listener within the 1 to 3 minutes these tracks last, or just explore different modes of development outside of, a normal song structure. And rarely does this happen on the majority of the tracks here, because many of the beats on this thing are cold, they're stiff, they're lifeless, they often depend on the vocals to bring some heat and humanity into the mix, but the vocals themselves are kind of lacking on quite a few cuts here. They are limited in range, the performances can be kind of rough and maybe in need of another take, or the way they're recorded or EQ'd just leaves them sounding very thin, like on tracks such as No New News, as well as Heartbreak Escape. But yeah, structurally you have moments on this thing that build tension higher and higher and higher, but don't really do anything with it toward the end, like on the song How They Like Me. There are moments that feature a significant lack of progression across the track, like in the case of Ghost, whose plain chords and breakbeats I think could have used more than some wild vocal leads and some loungy pianos in the second half. Then there's also tracks here where the various bits of instrumentation in the mix fail to coalesce into anything all that direct or cohesive, and it just leaves the track feeling like it's in this perpetual state of introducing something, but the whatever it is introducing never really quite comes. Instead, it fizzles out or ends abruptly. And if we're lucky, we do get a segue following into the next track in the track list. But even with that occasionally being the case, this album fails to build up any cohesion or momentum among its tracks, so it doesn't leave these half-baked and loosely pulled together songs feeling like they are a tapestry or connected in any significant way. Instead, what I feel like I'm hearing is a bunch of half-baked musical sketches that I feel like I only get a sense of when I squint at them and tilt my head. The stylistic variety among these tracks and the homegrown production chops for sure are impressive, but the amateurish charm of this record only brings the music so far. In my view, I see this record as very style over substance. There's only a handful of tracks I could say I enjoy for the song at the core of them, Wild Animals being one, which is so stunningly tuneful off the bat, it kind of makes me wonder why so many other tracks on this LP are deficient in that way. This project is cold, it's eerie, it's awash in effects, it's dodgy, its artsy bona fides definitely have an appeal to them, just not a very deep one in my opinion. Being sparse and stylistically eclectic is certainly one thing, but having messy performances and half-baked songs is another. Feeling a strong 5 to a light 6 on this one. Transition, have you given this record a listen? Did you love it? Did you hate it? What would you rate it? You're the best, you're the best. What should I review next? Hit the like if you like. Please subscribe and please don't cry. Hit the bell as well. Over here next to my head is another video you can check out. Hit that up or the link to subscribe to the channel. Anthony Fantano, forever.